Hey, this is Tyler Franklin with Tidewater Seed. I'm coming to you today from a cornfield in Hanover County, Virginia. I've promoted hairy vetch as a very beneficial cover crop this spring. We've talked about why it's valuable, how to establish a good stand in a heavy biomass cover crop of hairy vetch. And there's some locations that are really starting to show some of these key benefits that our corn crop is getting from vetch. We've talked a lot about all the nutrients that vetch is going to release to the corn crop, specifically nitrogen and potassium. But we're also really monitoring how well it does with weed suppression. And one thing I haven't talked about and I want to highlight here is moisture retention. So hairy vetch does a really good job mellowing out that top 3 to 4 inches based on its root structure, but also shading that ground is conserving moisture. And so here at this particular location I'm at, the corn is at V9, V10. We're beginning rapid elongation. We're starting to use more and more moisture out of the soil profile. The roots have touched in the center of 30-inch rows. Really haven't used 100% of the moisture in the bulk, but we're starting to see the corn roll up in some areas due to not having enough moisture to fulfill that plant's needs during transpiration during the heat of the day. So not severe stress, but I want to highlight how another key characteristic and benefit of hairy vetch as a cover crop is moisture retention and moisture holding capacity in the soil. So I'm gonna flip this around and show you. This is vetch. You can see the fodder is really starting to decay. In fact, I don't see hardly any leaves left. That's already down in the dirt. You can see that we're on a really coarse sandy soil, and there's a little bit of moisture. You see the corn roots are already in the center. There's a little bit of moisture here in the center. Not much. But this is where the vetch is. Corn's not really showing severe drought stress right now. We still got really good plant health all the way to the ground. A lot of times if it's under severe dry weather stress, the lower leaves of the canopy will turn brown. But here we haven't had any significant dry weather stress, and a lot of it's due to the cover crop, because right over here we left a pass out where we did not plant any vetch, and the corn is already showing severe drought stress. So corn's rolling up here. Not enough moisture to keep that plant satisfied during the day. We're just getting dry enough. We just started rolling up here the past day or two. You see there's no cover here. There's no moisture here. Plant's out of moisture. And we'll go over 10 feet into the cover crop. Plants are not rolling up. With vetch. Without vetch. The one reason I talk so much about hairy vetch in front of a corn crop as a very beneficial management tool is because of all the benefits that come from it. You're getting a lot of nitrogen out of it. You're getting a lot of potassium out of it. You're getting weed suppression. You're getting more moisture retention in the springtime. If you can manage it properly, this is a great option for decreasing your input costs growing corn, as well as increasing yields. How often can you make a management change that decreases costs at the same time increasing yield. That is rare. This is one of those occasions, but it's not just a situation where you plant the cover crop and everything's fine and dandy and it works. There's a lot of intensive management that goes along with it. Would love to talk to you about it this summer so we can learn together and benefit your operation in 2024. But here's an example of how we're conserving more moisture with the vetch cover crop. No vetch here. Here's where the vetch starts. Hey everyone, this is Tyler Franklin with Tidewater Seed. It is July 31st, 2023. I'm in Eastern Virginia where we did a trial comparing corn following vetch and corn following nothing. So it was a trial by mistake. We actually skipped a pass in the middle of a field where we were drilling vetch at about 20 pounds per acre this spring. So it gave me a good test to study throughout the growing season. This is the second drought we've run into. Earlier around V7, V8, V9, we were going through some real dry weather then. And I noticed that where there was no vetch, the corn rolled up first, rolled up before the area that had vetch and the rest of the field. We know that it's good to have cover on the ground to slow down water, to allow more water infiltration. We know it's good to have cover on the ground to keep the sunlight from baking that surface, creating crust and evaporating the moisture that's in that surface. Vetch does a really good job at shading the ground. The root system really creates soil aggregates, which create space for the water to pool in the soil. One thing we don't really talk about is how important potassium is during drought. But ironically, when there's not enough moisture in the soil and there is drought conditions, the plant's not able to pick up potassium. It's really convenient that vetch brings up a lot of potassium that's in the lower profile in the soil and makes it available all season. We find significantly higher concentrations of potassium in the corn plant where we have vetch versus where we don't. That's one big factor in combating drought, is having potassium in the plant. And so the vetch doesn't just do one thing to help with drought, it does a lot. It's very important in dryland Virginia to understand that water is our limiting factor year after year. Any investment we can make to reduce the impact of drought is going to set us up for success. Genetic selection, finding hybrids that can withstand drought, making sure you've got a good root system in place. Cover cropping is another way to combat drought, and I have found and fallen in love with hairy vetch ahead of corn. We're going through our second dry spell right now. Corn's at dent. We're coming off a week where the temperatures were in the upper 90s and the wind was blowing hard, 15 to 25 miles an hour every day, like a blow dryer. And we haven't caught any rain since to replenish the soil, so it's dry. Corn shutting down during the day, rolled up like pineapples. But I want to show you this strip where it's about 26 rows of corn straight down the field that doesn't have any vetch. And on either side of it, it was a lush vetch cover that we rolled and planted into. In fact, you can still see the only really thing left of that vetch cover crop is just some stems. Everything else has been decomposed and absorbed by the plant. You can see the drought symptoms, how the corn's been rolling up, the lower leaves have broken down, the upper canopy is whirled up. This looks bad, but this is where we had vetch. Let me show you what it looks like where there was no vetch. Starting to see a difference here. This is a light sandy loam soil. This land is, we manage this land for drought. On light sandy soil or under irrigation on heavy ground, this cover crop system works. But as far as drought stress and reducing the impact from it, you can see there was no vetch here. This is just dry sand. It is dead. This plant is done. There's some ears that are already starting to drop. With rain now, this plant is not gonna recover and come back to life. Let me keep walking and show you the other side where the vetch cover starts back. We're getting close. No vetch cover. That corn looks awful. Now I'm starting to step into the vetch cover crop now. See the plants greening up. See the cover's back. So is our color. These plants look bad, but they still have a chance to really compensate and continue adding kernel weight if we can catch a rain the next week. That's a night and day difference with just one simple tool, which is vetch cover crop. I can't stress how important it is to at least give this program a try ahead of corn in 2024, especially on dry land acres. That's with and without. If you want to see it in person, my number is 804-445-4333. Good luck.